the human spirit. Don't blink, it's happening now. Spheres of the world are transformed by the baseball eye. Rockies baseball allures the imagination. None finer than that. Like a modern art form, moments in time are interpreted through pictures that embody our joy as fans. Don't blink. The longest memories are happening now on Root Sports. The leaders of the National League West, the Colorado Rockies, getting set for Game 2 tonight against the San Francisco Giants. Last night did not go so well. Colorado lost 8-1. Tim Lincecum had a no-hitter into the 7th inning. Welcome to day 2 of this big early season 3-game set with George Frazier. I'm Drew Goodman. Great news for the Colorado Rockies. It is the reset button, not only for the club, hopefully, tonight, but for Ubaldo Jimenez.
Yeah, I can't wait to get out on the mound, and that's one thing that he wants to do is kind of erase that opening day start. Obviously was not himself with the injury to the thumb as he warmed up for this ball game. Everything looks normal, folks. It looks like the Ubaldo we all loved to know a year ago and what he did in his starts last year for the Colorado Rockies with his no-hitter. And then again on opening day here, wasn't the same guy, and it was very unfortunate that he tried to battle through this finger. He had some good moments in this ball game, don't get me wrong, but there were some bad moments too. And it all started with the finger starting to act up, then the decline in velocity, and the Arizona Diamondbacks took advantage of it to put 6 runs on there. There's nobody in this uniform, there's nobody in the locker room that wants to rectify what happened opening day and be the Ubaldo that we all know.
Well, the beautiful thing is, in Ubaldo's absence, the starters have compiled a record of 9-2. That is wonderful news. But make no mistake, the leader of this staff, the leader of the entire pitching staff, is Ubaldo Jimenez. And he'll take the baseball tonight and try to make amends for a tough night for the Rockies last night. When we come back, we'll continue to get you prepared for this Game 2, the Rockies and Giants. he gets ready to make his way in like a fighter in from the bullpen. And he'll take the hill tonight against the San Francisco Giants. Second start of the year for the man the skipper calls the Chief. Hi once again, everybody. I'm Drew Goodman. Well, the Rockies made a roster move today. They had to, obviously. Ubaldo came off the disabled list. And the person that was taken off the roster was Ian Stewart. He was sent out. He was optioned out. He was not placed on the disabled list, to clarify. Struggling with the bat, but in fairness, he did not have anywhere close to a full spring training. For more on his story, let's go field level and check in with Jeff Houston. Huey?
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate for Ian Stewart because he got hurt in that very first game of spring training and was really battling uphill the whole time and just didn't get those consistent at-bats that you hope to get for. And we're talking about Ian Stewart. And the problem was he was in between the fastball and the breaking pitch. He was late on the fastball, too early on the breaking pitch. This will give him an opportunity to go down, iron out that swing a little bit. A lot of people are talking about, well, why is this? Well, Jonathan Herrera had a lot to do with this as well. He comes in and plays a marvelous second base, provides some punch at that number 2 spot in the lineup, and Jonathan is a guy that brings a high energy. So it's unfair to say it was all of Ian because Jonathan Herrera had a little bit to do with this, and Ian's going to go back and he's going to do the right thing for himself in the ball club, is go back there, feel good about himself, get that swing right, because you know what, his bat is just too dangerous to miss, but it wasn't doing any good what he was doing up here at the big league level right now. Yeah,
he's not being reprimanded, as you point out. He just needs to get at bats. They'll bunch some bats together for him in Colorado Springs, and hopefully he'll be back shortly. Hey, don't blink. Ubaldo's on the hill. Rockies and Giants, come on back with us. Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. By the Ford Mustang, the all-legend, zero-compromise thrill machine. Ford Mustang, drive one. By the fast, reliable, secure, heavy-duty internet from Quest. And by Southwest Airlines, new Rapid Rewards, unlimited reward seats, and no blackout dates. Aaron Rowland has stepped in, and here is Ubaldo Jimenez, and his first pitch is over for a strike at 92 miles an hour. And we'll pay close attention tonight to how hard he throws based on what happened in his first performance, and that hit him.
Yeah, it did. Got a fastball that rode up and in on him, and he's a guy that can have a tendency to dive a little bit. Ubaldo's fastball caught him right on the back of the arm. Here it is, slow motion. You get a good look at that. Anytime your hand gets outside the ball, you're going to have a tendency to have a run on the baseball. That's where he started to commit that swing, was not able to get out of the way.
So Rowan reaches something he did not do last night. He was 0 for 5. The Giants jumped out to a 5-0 lead against Esmil Rogers in the first inning. Freddie Sanchez was in the middle of it, a long double to right field on a 0-2 pitch. I was talking to Spilborghs about that last night, and he said, I thought it was going to be a relatively routine play. He said the ball kept carrying. It was unbelievable, the jet stream heading out to right field last night.
Well, typically this ballpark, when there is wind, it's going to be right towards the bullpen area and into that corner.
Rowan draws a throw. He's not your prototypical leadoff hitter. The Giants, without Andres Torres, quite frankly, don't have one.
Yeah, the only running game that they typically do with a Bruce Bochy type team is hit and run.
And that was nasty. 0-2 on Freddie Sanchez. Sanchez in his career is 7 for 24, 292 average against Jimenez. That's one of the better marks you will see. Been getting after the Rockies the last 2 years. Freddie doesn't hit a ton of long balls for age, but 4 of his 9 have come against Colorado. 0-2 count. And this is fouled out of play. Take a look at Bruce Bochy's Southwest.com batting order tonight for the Giants. After Sanchez, Aubrey Huff, very similar lineup to last night. Buster Posey, Pablo Sandoval, Pat Burrell, he had the 3-run home run last night. Nate Shearholtz. The only difference is Mike Fontenot at shortstop for Miguel Tejada. And that fastball is upstairs at 93. Last year, Ubaldo, and the same was true in 2009. He averaged 96.1 on his fastball. And most of those fastballs, folks, are two-seam fastballs or sinkers. His first outing was a tick over 91. It's a hit and run. And Rowan is going to go from first to third. Actually, it can't be a hit and run with 2 strikes, but he punched the bat out there. And now the Giants have runners on the corners with nobody out.
Hey, Jeff, quick question. He's running on a hit and run. Why would he not pay attention to his third base coach versus what the shortstop was doing?
That's just bad base running, George, because the shortstop, he's trying to deke you and thinking that ball's up in the air. There's no excuse for that if you're a guy that's played as long as Aaron Rowan. But just Freddie Sanchez just sticking his bat out there again, much like what he did last night to Rogers.
Well, that's why he hits second in the lineup everywhere he's been, because of his ability to handle the bat.
Well, now Jimenez is going to have to really bear down right out of the gate. He's got Aubrey Huff up there. And that fastball fouled straight back. Huff was on it.
Last year, the Giants hit 168 against Ubaldo Jimenez. The 3-hole this year, or excuse me, last year hit just a .191. Trying to see if he has that success here with Huff hitting third in the lineup.
And Huff lifetime 2 for 12 against Ubaldo. Down the line, and that almost clipped Aaron Rowan. I mean, he got hit to get on base. He almost got hit while he's at third.
Yeah, did it not ricochet off the back of him? I mean, it kind of looks this way. You're going to get a great look at home on it. Line drive right at you. It was very close.
Huge, some pitches left up early already. That splitter was up. The breaking ball that Sanchez served to right was up.
And I just think it's a case of not being out on a major league mound since opening day.
Well, there's the 96. That's good to see right there.
Yeah, if you think about it, though, guys, he started April 1st. And even in spring training, he had layoffs because of the finger. He had to skip a start some days. And then he had one start in extended spring, and here he is.
You think it's going to take a couple starts?
Absolutely, I do. I mean, I wouldn't have been surprised if the Rockies would have chose to get him another couple of starts in the minor league game before they brought him back.
1-2. No swing. We'll check it out with Corey Blazer at third. Ed Rapuano, the crew chief's behind home plate. Brian Anora is at first. Ed Hickox at second, and Blazer at third. Now, this is where Jimenez, in the past, able to come up with a strikeout, and then maybe a double play gets you out of the inning. 2-2. on Huff. Huff, for a guy that can hit the ball over the wall, Jeff, does not strike out all that much.
Well, we saw the plate coverage that he had last night against Rogers, just barely being able to flick that ball out into center field. And for that reason, he's not going to strike out a lot. The plate coverage, and he just really kind of spreads out a little bit, even with 2 strikes. Just try to put the ball in play.
Ubaldo in his career 5-5 with a .313 earned run average against the Giants. 50-36 in his career. And the breaking ball misses. 3-2. Rockies defensively will have Cargo in left, Dexter Fowler in center, Spilborghs again in right, Wigginton, Tulowitzki, Lopez and Helton in the infield, Johnny Guerrero getting the night off, and Iannetta behind the plate. 3 balls, 2 strikes on Aubrey Huff. Rowan at third, Freddie Sanchez at first, nobody out. Swung on and missed. Big punch out there. He went back to the slider, George.
Well, that's the last pitch Aubrey Huff thought he would see in this at-bat, because it had been so many different types of pitches in this at-bat for Aubrey Huff, and then he just came back hard slider with some velocity, late tilt and movement on it. Watch the pitch right here as he goes up thinking fastball on a 3-2 count. Then the ball dives down to over the top of that bat for strike 3.
Looked like he just swung through it, didn't it, Jeff?
Well, yeah, but sometimes those sliders that are up, they don't break to that area that you think they are. And that's why he missed it.
Buster Posey. And the fastball's up and away. Ubaldo went 6 innings in his first outing. He struck out just 1 in those 6 innings. That's how you knew he wasn't right.
Settling into a game, if you want to call it a problem, for Ubaldo, 254 in the first innings what the opposition has hit against him, and if you want to call that a problem. But the rest of the ball game, they've hit just 227 against him.
1-1, and that is off the plate at 95.
They say Eddie Rapuano behind the plate kind of shaking his head. Yes, 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 I understand. Because Chris was set up inside, the glove caught the ball in the strike zone on the outside.
He's really using, George, the whole repertoire very early in this baseball game, maybe out of necessity because of the traffic.
Well, no, I think he's doing it to get the feel for it, to be quite honest, with his finger in his hand and to make sure everything's on track where he wants it to be. He's not feeling any discomfort, because when you throw it in a bullpen's one thing, but when you cross those white lines and the adrenaline kicks in a little bit higher.
2-2 on Posey. And that ball to right, and it is a foul ball.
I tell you something interesting for me with Sanchez and Buster Posey, Jeff, is everything's trying to go to the right side. They're not trying to get quick on him or trying to pull the ball at all.
Yeah, if you do that, then all of a sudden that slider, that split, you're just done for the evening, because you've got to stay on the fastball, think about it the other way. And then if you do happen to get one of those, that's when you just pull those hands and you'll hit it to left.
2-2, and that's a base hit to left center field, and it's 1-0 San Francisco. Second career hit for Posey against Jimenez. And as the Giants did yesterday, they strike early.
Well, you talked about pulling the hands in and yanking the ball to left field, and it's just what Buster Posey did. You see everything worked away from him. Then they try to come in with an upper side fastball on him, and when they do, up in that upper area, that ball above the belt area, and he just takes it and muscles it into the outfield.
And Posey's a pretty darn good hitter. 95-mile-an-hour fastball in on the hands.
You know, they talk about he's hitting so much, and he is a great hitter. But to think last year, I mean, I remember at one point did not have a pass ball in late September. with that pitching staff that he had to catch, which was an all-star pitching staff.
Pablo Sandoval walked 3 times last night. 3rd time in his career that has occurred. 22 pitches in already for Jimenez. 1 out. Sanchez at second. Posey at first. What I've noticed, George, tell me, the location has consistently been up.
Yeah, it has, and it's all about extension and finish on your pitches, and maybe that's just a reluctant part, like Jeff said, not being out on the mound, not getting in sync yet. Concentrate, focus down. But that pitch he threw to Pablo Sandoval there, up and away from him out of the zone, one of the hardest pitches for left-handers to get to.
One and two. Rockies facing Jonathan Sanchez tonight, the left-hander for San Francisco. They have 2 lefties in their rotation now that Zito's down. They did have 3. Bumgarner, the other one. Here's the 1-2. And this ball's hammered. And the same thing has happened as occurred last night. A 3-run first inning home run. The Giants lead it 4-0. You got to be kidding. That hung and it was up in the zone. Sandoval's 5th of the year.
Sandoval this year, 235 with nobody on base, 500 with runners on base, and he exhibited that here on this pitch from Ubaldo Jimenez. A breaking ball that stayed. You can see Ineta wanted that down in the dirt in the back foot. Look how far he strided out towards the mound, Jeff. He really got almost, his heel was on the line, on the front line with that long stride. It allowed him to get to it. Here's a slow motion look what we're talking about. Boy, look at that lower trunk rotation to get to this curveball. Man, this kid can, what happened last year? Man, he get hit.
That was a pretty good swing for as far as he went out to get it, though.
Yeah, you know, isn't that amazing how strong he is? I mean, to me it is.
You know, last night it was Pat Burrell hitting the long ball in the first inning. A 3-run shot. That made it 4-0. And then Nate Scherholtz right behind him hit a home run almost 500 feet. Freddie Sanchez, an inning later, would hit one out.
The same kind of feeling that happened last night, Drew and George, down here at field level. It just kind of feel like the whole energy.
Oh, it's got to. I mean, first of all, this is the Giants. That's a bullet up the middle. I mean, Esmil Rogers got hammered for 3 innings. But right out of the gate, you're 5 minutes into the game and you're down 5-0. And the same thing has occurred tonight. And what's more alarming, obviously, for all the fans is this is one of the elite pitchers in baseball.
Well, it is. And something tells me they must be able to see the ball very well, the way they take swings on this pitch, particularly that curveball that Sandoval hit out. I mean, something had to tell me he had to see that pitch really well coming out of the hand, because they're taking some pretty healthy swings on a guy. And you know, again, Jeff, we're going to take a look at this in replay. But coming out of the hand, I don't know what he picked up, but for him to get that far out and still be able to keep the hands back and hit it with this type of authority.
Yeah, it just didn't look like, obviously didn't have that bite on it that we talk about, so it didn't really look like it had that sharp spin on it, though. And maybe that's what he picked up then.
Yeah, it must have been. Ubaldo in 2010, he gave up 10 home runs, one every 22 innings. He's given up 3 now in 6 2/3 on this season. Obviously not the same guy.
Yeah, and again, the velocity, he's flashed a little bit more in the mid-90s, but it's not electric velocity like we're accustomed to seeing.
Well, that ball that Burrell hit was 95. You know, and again, balls that are getting hard aren't necessarily the fastball.
Play by Wigginton. That's the second time this year I've seen a third baseman, Huey, on a 5-4-3 attempted turn go underhand to second. I don't know if I've ever seen it before.
No, but that was the only way he could do it, because if he takes the time to come up over the top and try, he fed him a lot like a shortstop would, and then Lopez made a strong throw. Todd tried to steal it, but with Scherholtz hitting left-handed out of the box just a little bit quicker.
Jennings at the plate. This is almost identical to last night's first inning.
And then the other thing too, you look up and Ubaldo has 32 pitches. Now I know Jim Tracy said he's not on a pitch count, but they're not going to be silly with him in his first outing.
Yeah, the only problem, Jeff, I guess your long guy tonight's going to be Franklin Morales. I mean, that's something you start to look for if you have to go there.
Now the Rockies, when they made that move today, we talked about it. It was Ian Stewart going out. They didn't bring up another bat. They kept Clayton Mortensen, who obviously he can't go for a few days. He was terrific last night. He saved the bullpen. 6 innings of 2-hit baseball.
67 pitches.
Yeah, but again,
he's very efficient. He won't be ready till Saturday.
Franklin Morales, as George suggests, is going to have to be the long haul guy. They want to stay away from Matt Belisle, who has been one of the few guys down there to throw more than an inning, George, but they don't want to use him tonight.
Not after the amount of pitches he's had to throw in New York and then here coming right back.
Jimenez on 4 pitches walks Fontenot, and now you have Jonathan Sanchez coming up, the pitcher, and the Giants have hit around in the first inning here against Ubaldo.
Sanchez is a hitter in his career, has hit 106. He improved a year ago where he hit 138.
Nate Shearholtz is at second. To left center field. Dexter will get over there and make the catch. Not what that man was looking for in the first inning. Sandoval, 3-run home run, 4 for the Giants. Bill Rogers struggled last night in the first inning, and Ubaldo Jimenez struggled in the first inning tonight. It's 40-0 San Francisco. Dexter Fowler will lead things off naturally for the Rockies. They have work to do. Southwest batting order. Ryan Spilborghs will be in the 2-hole tonight. Johnny Herrera being given the night off. Carlos Gonzalez, Troy Tulowitzki, Todd Helton, Jose Lopez, Ty Wigginton, Chris Iannetta, and then Jimenez. To face Jonathan Sanchez, who finally broke through the winning record last year. He's had great stuff since his arrival in the big leagues, but last year he went 13-9, first time George over 500 in a full season.
Yeah, 35-40 in his career against the Rockies, 3-4. Yet last year he went 1-1, but had a very fine earned run average of 1.93. He's pitched 19 games against the Rockies, 12 of those starting. This will be his 20th. Two things they've done. One thing, they've tried to get him where he's more on line. And I asked Dave Righetti, I spent a lot of time with him and Mark Gardner today, because it's kind of co-pitching coach type deal with this club. I said, what have you done to Sanchez? Anything different that you worked on? And he said, one thing is we want to elevate his elbow. He thought his elbow started to drop and he'd get flat with his fastball. That's one of them. The other was to stay on line more to the plate. He had a tendency to get across his body last year. When he got across the body, he started to yank, he started to pull. He just didn't really have what you were looking for. And then when he stayed on line, see, right now as that leg comes down, the hand should break. And he carries it too far occasionally. And when he does that, the elbow drags through instead of being on top.
2 balls and a strike on Dexter. 3-1.
Sometimes those long innings for a pitcher, you have to sit in that dugout. 9 guys went to the plate. The opposition can take advantage of that when they come to the plate.
Three and 2. Dexter last night, as you look at Spilborgh's on deck, 0 for 2. He did draw a couple of walks. Had a 5-game hitting streak snapped last night by Lincecum. This ball's lined to pretty deep right field. Shearholt's a good outfielder. Dropped the baseball. And Dexter will arrive at second base. Maybe that's a break the Rockies need.
Jeff, I thought that wasn't a very good route.
No, it wasn't, but the wind has picked up here in the last probably 5 minutes or so. There was no breeze in the top half of the first inning, but this time there is. Shearholtz goes back and he reaches for it. I thought he was going to be able to catch it.
Yeah, he hit the end of the glove right here. They give him a double on the hit by Fowler, which I think they probably should have. As he ran a long ways, got a little twisted on it, turned the glove at the very end, and went to the bucket and came back out again and bounced off that wall.
7th double for Dexter this year. Now Spilborgh's at the plate. Rockies trying to counterpunch. Spilborgh's, who's been scuffling in the early going this year, his average is 188.
It's imperative that you get a run back this inning.
I mentioned right-handers have hit 304, left-handers 154.
Something interesting about Jonathan Sanchez that may catch you by surprise. What with being on a staff that includes a 2-time Cy Young winner, maybe a future Cy Young winner in Matt Cain. Young guy who's very good in Bumgarner. That's low.
Well, another guy, too. You're talking about Lincecum. Zito, too's on this staff before he got hurt with Cy Young guy.
Well, last year the league hit just 204 against Jonathan Sanchez. That was the best mark in the National League. Actually, in the entire big leagues, that was the best mark.
Well, he has the ability to strike people out.
This ball hard on the ground. Low throw, and it's handled by Aubrey Huff. And Spilborgh's wanted to try to move Fowler. He did not. One out, Cargo coming up. Defensively, Pat Burrow below average in left field. Aaron Rowan, this is a lot of room for him to cover in center. Nate Shearholtz has one of the best arms in baseball. Sandoval, Fontenot, Freddie Sanchez, and Aubrey Huff in the infield. Mike Fontenot, you had him when you were coaching in Chicago, Huey. He's more of a second baseman, isn't he?
Yeah, and it can fill in at third base, but not as a shortstop. For him, it's just going to be, if it's hit to him, he's got to be able to make the play.
Gonzalez trying to get his first hit against Sanchez. 0 for 11 with 5 strikeouts. He's walked 1.
Hit .320 against lefties last year. Off to a slow start left on left this year. 1 for 14. Last night he broke up the no-hitter with 1 out in the 7th inning against Lincecum. That misses. 2-0. Here's the hit that broke up the no-no.
Ball that got in on the inner half of the plate, and he just shot it through the right side for a base hit. But at that point, Lincecum had total control of this ball game.
And two doors down, Helton drove in Gonzalez with a double. Cargo lifts this up. Foul ground. Sandoval handles it. 2 outs. The 6 1/3 of hitless baseball for Lincecum was the longest of his career. He does have a 2-hitter to his credit. Last night he ended up going 7 2/3. Ryan Vogelsong got the final 4 outs. Lincecum would give up a run on 3 hits, 3 walks, and for the 28th time in his career he struck out 10 or more. That ties Christy Mathewson for the most double-digit strikeout performances all time for the Giants. Tulowitzki has enjoyed a lot of success against Jonathan Sanchez. Tulo hitting .412 with a home run against Sanchez. Two outs, Fowler at second, 4-0 San Francisco. Another first inning 3-run home run, this time from Sandoval.
Yeah, the right guy at the plate right now with Tulowitzki. He's 8 for 12 versus left-handers this year, and guess what? 8 of those hits, 4 home runs, resulted in 8 RBIs and 2 doubles. 6 of 8 of those hits, extra base hits.
The book on Sanchez is be patient because he has a history of walking guys. I mentioned the low batting average against last year, the best in baseball. He also, fellas, walked more batters than anybody else in the National League last year.
94.
Here's the 2-1.
Well, backwards with Tulowitzki, you get into hitters counts. A lot of times you'll see pitchers come at you, but they'll come at you with a fastball in a location. 2 off-speed pitches from Sanchez.
Now you got to be wondering, is he going to go back to an off-speed again or try to challenge him with the fastball?
He's taking his time.
I think they're trying to go fastball in.
A lot of times when you do come in like that on right-handers, if you're a left-hander, I mean, it's kind of hard to guess a lot of times. Like, Jeff, you look fastball because of the movement of the catcher.
Yeah.
But what they'll try to do is throw a darting slider on that back foot. So if you do hit it or contact, you're either going to pull it foul, but it's going to be because the ball's boring down and in. It's a little bit harder to lift out of the ballpark on that pitch.
No swing, 3-2.
Yeah, new improved changeup from Sanchez. Is this going to be the one of 2 that he throws? The circle change, less velocity, not as much movement as the split change that he'll throw into the mid-80s.
Bouncing ball to Mike Fontenot. Leadoff doubles wasted. And we'll go to the second inning with the Giants in front of Ubaldo Jimenez 4-0. Bell locations the next day between 4 and 6. Get your Rockies taco special. Feed your Rockies fever only at Taco Bell. Aaron Rowan led off the ball game. He was hit by a pitch. He would score, and here he is leading off in the second inning. 4-0 San Francisco. They had 4 hits in that first inning. Pablo Sandoval's 5th home run of the year, a 3-run shot. The 1-0. Swung on and missed at 91. George, you and I were talking during the break. Ubaldo, not only is it up, but it's just not, it doesn't appear sharp. No, the breaking pitches are sharp.
It's like I said to you at the break. I said it almost looks like 3rd or 4th start of spring training. You know what I mean? It's not the location he's looking for, the release point, and there's nothing worse for a pitcher, and I'm sure it's the same as a hitter for Jeff. When you feel like you're out of sync, it's so hard to perform at this level.
Well, you're just going to get exposed. No matter how good you are, the other guys are going to figure it out. So that's the thing. Yeah, I mean, it could be a hitter, as you mentioned, a pitcher for Ubaldo tonight. Those guys in the opposing dugout, they see the same thing that we are seeing right now, and they're taking notes.
Concerned look on the face of Jim Tracy.
Well, when you're looking out and you're seeing really the anchor of your pitching staff and see him struggle like this, it's not easy to accept. Ground ball over to Wigington, make it look pretty easy on a 94-mile-an-hour fastball.
That'll bring up Freddie Sanchez, who punched a 1-2 single to right. I mean, there were so many things that were similar, Jeff, in that first inning tonight for the Giants to 24 hours ago.
Yeah, really, the only difference last night, you got Aaron Rowan out on the first batter of the ball game tonight. He gets hit by the pitch, but after that, it was the same. Freddie Sanchez and then Pablo Sandoval. I mean, the list went on and on and on.
But Freddie behind in the count,
right,
serving the ball to right field.
Right.
You know what else? I know you noticed this, George. Jeff, you noticed this. The swings that guys take typically against Jimenez are defensive kind of swings where they're beaten oftentimes. We haven't seen that tonight, obviously. I mean, there's been some healthy hacks. Even the Aubrey Huff strikeout. That's why I threw it down to you at that point, Jeff, because I thought he was right on that.
Yeah, and as a hitter, though, it's just like a pitcher knows when a hitter's in a slump. Well, these hitters, too, they feed off it a little bit, too. Because they're saying, okay, this isn't the Ubaldo that we were used to seeing last year. Let's get him right now while we can, because I know next time we face him, it's probably going to be a different story.
1-2 on Sanchez again, and he strikes him out. Got him with a split. Second strikeout for Ubaldo.
Well, that's the normal velocity you're used to seeing, that 87-mile-an-hour split finger that he really got out front. Big bite. Heavy drag and pull and sink on the baseball. That's a nice pitch from Ubaldo for a strikeout.
Aubrey Huff with 2 outs and nobody on. And a ground ball to help. So a much better inning, obviously. A 1-2-3 second for Ubaldo. 4-0 San Francisco, middle of 2. We'll have Helton leading off in the bottom of the second. Windshield damage, call Safelite Auto Glass at 303-287-5000 or go to safelight.com. Todd Helton brings a 366 average in. He hits this high in the air down the left field line, and Pat Burrell's going to run out of room. 2 doubles last night for Todd Helton. And the last one for me was the most impressive. This one down the right field line, pretty impressive. It broke up the shutout as Gonzalez scored. Look how far Jeff Houston, he hits this ball to left center.
Yeah, we were sitting in the dining room tonight with a couple scouts, and they were saying the same thing. They were impressed with the bat speed that Todd had on that ball.
And this is picked off nicely by the first baseman Aubrey Huff, and he flips to Sanchez, 1 out. That'll bring up Jose Lopez. It'll take us to Alana Rizzo for the first time this evening. Hey, Alana.
Hey guys, how you doing? Jonathan Sanchez gets the ground out there, but you know what? In his last outing against the Dodgers, he had 9 strikeouts. He becomes the first Giants pitcher since the third Giants pitcher since 1920 to have at least 7 punch-outs in his first 3 starts of the season, joining Tim Lincecum, who did it last season, and Sal Magley, who did it in 1952. So only 3 Giants pitchers have had at least 7 punch-outs in their first 3 starts since the 1920s, guys.
All right, Alana, thank you. 1 strike count on Jose Lopez. He had one of the Rockies' 3 hits last night against Lincecum. This is a pop-up, and Shearholtz will handle 2 outs.
Boy, it seems like, is that the wind whipping through your mic down there, Jeff? I mean, yeah, you talked about it picking up. It's done just that.
And it's starting to really come in basically from left field right across towards first base, maybe quarter a little bit towards the right field foul pole. But even from last inning to this inning, it's picked up probably another 10 miles an hour.
Well, the Rockies have a couple of guys, actually 3 guys in the lineup. They're really trying to get themselves going offensively. Wigginton being one of them, Lopez also, and Ryan Spilborns.
Wigginton, one of those guys that they picked the right guy to go. He's hit .429 in his career against Sanchez. Not very many at bats, but has had the success against him.
Well, history tells you with Ty Wigginton, he will hit. And when he hits, he does damage.
And he's not that far off, though. That's the thing. It's his swing, so foul balls just back. And that tells you as a hitter that your timing is just a notch off.
As you look back over his career and what he has been able to accomplish, I mean, in 07, 22 and 67, there's the numbers, 23 and 58. A year ago, hit .248, but had 22 home runs and 76 RBIs.
That's a foul ball. 3-2.
Balls like that right there, those are the ones when you're going good, those stay fair.
Yeah, it's the rocket by the third baseman. You know, one thing I notice about the Giants, and maybe this is their plan to pitch, but it really doesn't seem like Sandoval plays off the bag much. I mean, he's only about 2 or 3 steps away from the line, big steps, but doesn't look like he's in his normal, and he moves over again on the pitches. As you played in the infield, Jeff, for the fans at home, a little learning process as you get higher levels. Right-handed dead pull, you see a guy put a slider down. As a shortstop, you cheat it over a couple of steps.
Yeah, and then you also whistle. You just a little whistle to that third baseman that only he can hear to let him know, hey, cheat over towards that line is coming your way.
Ball 4, Wigginton draws a 2-out walk. Second base runner for the Rockies. That will bring Chris Iannetta to the plate. Iannetta has an amazing line. I mean, he's hitting just .211. However, his on-base percentage this year is well over 400. It's .423. I don't know if I've ever seen a guy with an on-base percentage 211 points, or what is it, 212 points higher than his than his batting average.
It's a first for me.
One ball, 1 strike.
Now, one big thing that Jimmy Johnson, who is the minor league hitting coordinator, that he really looks at a lot is your walk strikeout ratio as a hitter. Right now, Chris Iannetta is just about dead even in that category. Tell you the way this wind's picked up, I'm looking for Annie M and Toto, man.
Just flew by, George. You missed him. You put your head down.
Kicking up a little bit down there.
Toto went first, then Annie M came by. You picked up your head. You missed all the festivities. 3 balls and a strike.
And I will tell you, from a pitcher's perspective, when you go out and it's very calm one inning, the next inning you're dealing with wind. And the reason behind that is if you're a left-hander and you're trying to cut a fastball or slider into the wind, it'll have more tendency to hang. Now, if it's straight into your face, you'll have a bigger bite on it because obviously the rotation's going into the wind.
3-2. Fu Manchu's coming in pretty well, isn't it?
Keep waiting on you to grow one of those.
Keep waiting.
You got a summer Manchu, some over here, some over there.
Exactly. Strike 3 on the corner. Iannetta called out on strikes. That's the first punch out for Sanchez. We move to the 3rd. Giants have all the runs. You buy your neighborhood Toyota stores. Toyota moving forward. By McDonald's, quench your late night thirst at McDonald's, where any size drink or tea is just $1. By AT&T, the nation's fastest mobile broadband network. And by the Courtyard by Marriott on the 16th Street Mall. Ask about our hometown sports package. Giants got 4 in the first against Ubaldo Jimenez. Pablo Sandoval a 3-run home run in that first. Also Buster Posey had an RBI single. Here's Posey leading off the 3rd. And the curveball dropped in there for a strike. Ubaldo's fastball velocity between 91 and a high of 96. A lot of 92s and 93s. Last 2 years, again, he averaged 96.1 on his heater and 88 almost on his changeup. This ball to center field. And in that first start, he was down more than 5 miles an hour on his fastball on average and also on his changeup. So we always talk about the fastball speed, but it affects other pitches, George.
Well, absolutely it does, Drew. That's exactly what it does. It affects everything there. And here's the thing. You pitch off the fastball. Hitters hit off the fastball, you pitch off the fastball. And if you don't have a comfortable level with your fastball, then, of course, obviously you're going to have problems.
Sandoval takes a heater for a strike. He got a slider in the first inning, and he stayed on. This is a fly ball to Dexter again.
Well, you really want the best ticket value in the ballpark. If you don't want to purchase season tickets, there is one. It's a 12 to 25 game mini packs. That's right. Call the ballpark 303 Rockies or go on ColoradoRockies.com and find out more information about mini plans for the 2011 season.
Pat Burrell comes to the plate. The view from the third base line. Burrell had a single his first time. 2 outs, nobody on. You know, it's not just the velocity, Jeff. You don't see that dramatic run with that two-seamer that you're used to seeing from Ubaldo.
And that's probably why the swings are the way they are for the Giants, because not the defensive swing that you talked about an inning or so ago. When it's not moving, it's easier to take that good cut at it.
Well, you know what, Jeff? The other thing I've noticed with the inability of that run we've talked about in sync, look where Iannetta has set up an awful lot. He's setting up on the outside corner of the fastball. That does two things. Obviously, it's going to get you to extend out. So if your pitches have been up, what do? You extend out with the pitch to get more extension. Then all of a sudden that makes everything else better. Plus, if it's going to run, it's going to run to a corner. It's not going to run back up over the plate and hit somebody. That pitch Burrell just hit was a fastball right out over the middle of the plate, but Iannetta was set up away.
Well, before that at bat, Burrell had the same number of home runs as singles. Shearholtz takes high ball one. Here's the McDonald's Big Mac smack. And last night, this was a Big Mac smack. One of the longest home runs in Coors Field history. Several rows up, right center field, third deck. Text Mick D to 720-720 and get one free Egg McMuffin or Big Mac with the purchase of any drink. Valid at participating Colorado, Nebraska, and Wyoming McDonald's. 2-0 on Shearholtz, and the changeup misses. It's 3-0. Giants second in the big leagues in home runs. They've been hitting a bunch. You know, going back to Sandoval, fellas, for the Giants, who are the defending world champs, as we all know, it's almost like they signed a big-time free agent bat with Sandoval losing 40 pounds and playing and swinging the bat like he did in 09.
Yeah, you're not kidding, he did. Good hook right there. A split finger, I should say, at 87, and gets the strikeout.
Third strikeout for Ubaldo. Burrow left at first, 4-0, middle of 3. For the Rockies, Ubaldo Jimenez will lead off. And Darren Ford is coming in center field for Aaron Rowan. So obviously Rowan either some sort of injury or maybe not feeling well, but he's come out here in the bottom of the third inning. So it's a straight up switch.
My guess is his elbow might be flaring up after getting hit in that first inning.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. The same thing, Jeff. And you know, the other thing about it, too, I mean, it's kind of the defensive switch they're going to make anyway about the seventh inning, except Ford would have gone to left or stayed center and Rowan would have gone to left.
Well,
so diminish it a little bit now with these changes.
Yeah, you're right, but you hope that they wouldn't be in a position where they had to take Rowan out, because if they take him out, as you are suggesting, it's because they're leading.
Cody Ross is back with the ball club. He got here late this afternoon before the club went on the field to take batting practice. He hit with them. He hit in the minor leagues, so wouldn't be a surprise that if he was activated tomorrow.
3-2. If nothing else, Ubaldo forcing Sanchez to throw at least 6 pitches here. Sanchez beat the Dodgers in his last outing. And this ball's hit well to center field. Ford going back will make the catch.
I wonder who's handling the defensive stuff for the Giants, because they really had Ford pulled in very shallow, playing to the right side versus back. I think it'd be easier than coming in and going back.
Hey, we'd like to welcome Emory Telecom viewers from Orangeville, Utah. We, the team, appreciate your support. Thanks for rooting on the Rockies. Also, you can send us a message on the Root Sports Facebook page and let us know your favorite place to root for the Rockies. So we say hello to Orangeville, Utah. You can tell that with our Toyota talk, we have a lot of fans over in Utah rooting on the Rockies. In Wyoming, this ball to center field, well struck. Right at Ford, though. 2 outs.
How about Ford comes into the game, Jeff? He gets 2 Delinias right in a row.
I was thinking the same thing. That ball will find you. You come in, you play defense, you'll get a ball. It's kind of like the other day. Jose Morales goes in for the first time ever at second base. What did he get? A ground ball. Ford, same thing tonight.
Well, that was a little different ground ball he got. He had to charge in and make a highlight reel play.
Still same.
Oh, yeah.
2 outs. Ryan Spilborgh's at the plate. Rockies have 1 hit. It was Dexter Fowler's double in the bottom of the first, leading off. Spilborgh's grounded to third his first time. Rockies been out hit 5-1. They trail 4-0.
Ryan's just a little jumpy right now. It's swinging. We talked about Carlos Gonzalez landing hard on that front foot. Ryan's kind of the same way right now.
He's trying to tell himself a little bit where's his strength. Right center, power, staying back on the ball, as a lot of hitters will do when they get into a slump. They want to see the ball travel farther. They want to try to get a better look on it, so they just stay back and try to take the ball to the right side.
Spilborgh's goes down. That's the second strikeout for Sanchez. He works a 1-2-3 third. Rizzo with today's Fast Cash Sideline Report. Brought to you by Fast Cash Gold Centers, where you'll always get 40% more for your gold. Alana, it is all yours.
Thank you very much. I'm way up here, guys, in right field last night where Nate Shearholtz hit the 467-foot home run. I'm actually standing in the spot where the ball landed. It was the 9th furthest home run in Coors Field history, so you might ask what are the top 3 longest here at Coors Field. Well, if you take a look back to Mike Piazza, 496 feet, that was September of 97. Larry Walker hit a bomb 493 feet, August of 97. And the third longest was Barry Bonds, 492 feet. That was in 2002. And here's a funny story about the Nate Shearholtz home run last night, guys. Obviously, very big day for him, but even bigger day for his brother, who happens to be an Air Force Academy cadet who was here last night watching the ball game. It hit about 10 rows from where he and his friends were sitting. He was able to get the ball that his brother hit, paid the guy $25 to get the ball. He promised him some Nate Shearholtz signed merchandise, but a great day for the brother, for the family, and for everyone. He didn't think he was going to see that. Nate didn't even know until after the ball game that his brother was able to get the ball, guys.
That's a pretty neat story. Alana, thank you.
That is a neat story. Good research here.
The only question, though, couldn't Nate get in better seats and up in the third deck?
I didn't want to go there.
Well, guys, I can tell you a little bit about that story as well. Nate Shearholtz was going to get his brother and his friends from some tickets, but his brother beat him to it, actually bought the tickets before Nate even had a chance to put them in. So his brother's like, you know what, I got it, don't worry about it. I know you can get me free tickets, but I'm going to go ahead and spend the money to get the tickets.
Okay, well, thank you,
Well,
Alana.
that's really good. That's extra research, but my brother been yelling at me.
Yeah. That's a neat story.
Well, it really is. That's cool.
2-strike count on Sanchez.
I don't know about you, Jeff, but my dad sat in the family section one time, and then the shortstop made an error, and he ripped him right in the back of the shortstop's wife's head, so I had to move him down the right field line from then on. Gary Templeton's wife was right in front of him, and he was like, you got to be kidding me. That guy can't catch a ball, and he's in the big leagues. And I was like, you're gone. Yeah. Let's go down the right field line, and you get to sit with me in the bullpen.
You put a seatbelt on him, right?
Yeah, well, you had a gag.
2-2.
Wondered why Gary Templeton didn't speak to me in the shower for like a week. Walk by him and, hey, Tim, just kind of look at you. Nice dad you got there, pal.
That's the 4th punch out for Jimenez. 2 outs in the 4th inning, and that'll bring up Darren Ford for the first time. Aaron Rowan had to leave the ball game with a forearm contusion where he got hit leading off the ball game.
Probably had some swelling. Started to tighten up on him.
On the outside corner. I've noticed, George, you and I kind of looking up there. He's been more often than not in this inning 89 with his fastball here in the 4th. He did touch 94 on one heater.
It's been consistent 89-90. And again, that's the one thing that I questioned in my mind was arm strength and stamina.
And that sat up pretty good, but Fowler's going to make the catch. And it's a 1-2-3 inning in the 4th for Jimenez. So he's getting outs. But clearly Ubaldo not midseason sharp. Is that Chuck up there or Ryan? San Francisco leading 4-0. They won 8-1 last night. Rockies looking to get it going against Jonathan Sanchez. They have only one hit. They also have a walk from Ty Wigginton in the second. That's it. AT&T trivia question. Clayton Mortensen threw 6 innings out of the bullpen last night. What's the longest outing by a reliever in Rockies history? This is a fly ball to Pat Burrow. Cargo just missed it. 1 pitch, 1 out. Well, we were talking about long home runs. Alana did a nice piece on it a moment ago. The longest ball I've ever seen hit here, the longest ball maybe anybody's ever seen hit, period. This is Charlie Felix, our photographer, at the very top of the stadium. Go down, Charlie, what is it, 5 rows till you hit the purple line, which signifies 5,280 feet. That's 2 aisles into fair territory in right field in batting practice a number of years ago. Barry Bonds hit it up there. Sanchez will throw out Tulowitzki, 2 outs. Now there's the purple row. Folks, George, what is that? 25, 30 rows up in the upper deck?
It's on Southwest Flight 222.
Yeah.
It leaves at 5:05 in the afternoon.
I was going to say it was 4 swings for me.
You know what, Huey? That's got to be... Now there's Chuck, way up there. He's like a dot. That's got to be 100 feet, right? At least 100 feet above the ground.
100?
More than that.
How do you measure on the East Coast, dude? That's got to be like 250. Find out how long that flagpole is. Those are 6-foot sections. I mean, the flagpole's 60 feet, 70 feet, 80, 90. It's a long ways up there.
Anyhow,
plus, that's another 200 feet back.
ways.
It's 200 feet back, too. Don't forget about that part.
I'm going to say that ball's got, if it had landed, they'd had to be 600 feet.
Back when they hit it, they were still serving meals on flights, and there was a meal served.
More than peanuts?
Yeah.
You know, Helton was at the plate. Barry got on that night. He reached, which he did pretty frequently. And he said to Helton, he said, Todd, he said, look up there. And he pointed out, he said, I hit one up there in batting practice. And Todd said, no way. Helton's told me the story. He said, no way. Bonds called over Louis Pujols, who was then the Giants' first base coach.
Yep.
And Louis confirmed Barry's story. Helton was in disbelief. 2-2. And this is an easy play for Freddie Sanchez.
Now 55 pitches through 4 innings. Make that 56 pitches through 4 for Freddie.
Yep, Sanchez is cruising along, and he has a 4-0 lead. Facebook for details on how to win free tolls. Pretty good deal. Tomorrow afternoon, this series concludes with the Giants, and it's off to South Florida. The Rockies will take on the Marlins for 3. And then they'll be at Wrigley Field for 3. This is a busy time for the Rockies in terms of playing away from Coors Field, because when they come back from Chicago, they'll play a 3-game set against the Pirates and then right back on the road inside the division. That's powdered up the middle, a base hit for Freddie Sanchez.
89-mile-an-hour fastball, and now you're in the heart of this lineup of Huff, Posey, and Sandoval.
Yeah, it's one thing if you back off a little bit when Jonathan Sanchez is up there, Jeff Houston, but I mean that was an 89-mile-an-hour heater, and we've seen a lot of those lately. I don't know if it's building up arm strength. I mean, we've seen, he flashed 96 a couple times. There's been about probably 4 or 5 95s, but
I think it goes back to spring training, Drew. Remember we were talking to Ubaldo a couple weeks ago, and he said the only time he really felt good was his first 2 outings of spring.
And then he had to shut down with the finger. I go back to when he went on the, what was it, the World Baseball deal that they have? And he made 2 starts in spring training, left, was gone 15 days, made 1 start there, threw 1 bullpen, came back and just got crushed by Arizona in his last start in spring training. Got beat up that first start, and the velocity was similar to this, and then all of a sudden it started to climb after that. The arm strength gets there.
Guys taking quality swings tonight against Ubaldo. That's up 3-0 on Aubrey Huff. What Miguel Montero said in that first ball game that Ubaldo pitched, he said, man, I got up there and I was like, wow, he's not throwing very hard. He goes, well, we got to take advantage.
You better take advantage when he's in this position, because trust me, when it gets healthy, it's going to get even.
Huff doesn't have very good numbers against Ubaldo. That's ball 4. And Sanchez, who is running, is a third of the way to third base. Iannetta retrieves the baseball. The first 2 have reached here in the 5th. Ubaldo's 81 pitches in.
Franklin Morales is starting to throw down in the Rockies bullpen, and this is again you mentioned the 81 pitch count, and conversation's going to happen with Bob Apodaca to make sure Ubaldo is okay. Kill some time and visit for a minute. Eddie Rapuano, a veteran umpire, I'm sure will allow Apodaca his time to coach as a coach before he makes that trip out.
Well, yesterday Jim Tracy was asked a number of questions on the opening of this 3-game set, and a lot of questions about the San Francisco Giants, which brings us to our Geico quote of the day. And the Giants win it all.
I watch them every year, and you know something, when the World Series is over, we all have goals in life, and every year that I see that stage get set up and they hand that trophy to the winning organization, I often find myself sitting on a couch asking myself the question, I wonder what that feels like.
And hopefully in the not too distant future, Jim Tracy will know exactly what that feels like.
Well, and as a former player that went there twice in the playoffs the other time, I mean, once you go, man, you want to go every year. I mean, you just want that feeling of being the last 2 standing.
Yeah, Rockies, one of the last 2 standing in 2007. And they believe they have a club to get it done this year. Buster Posey with a 1-0 count. Ubaldo needs a ground ball. That's the other thing. Not, when Ubaldo's going strong, you see punch outs, you see ground balls. There's only been 1 ball on the ground tonight. A lot of balls in the air, Jeff.
Well, that's because a lot of balls have been left up in the zone. And when the ball's up, you hit it in the air. If he was working down with that sink, with the movement on the baseball, working down at the knees, that's when you get the ground balls.
Let me correct that. 3 ground ball outs in the ball game, but a lot of balls in the air.
Even the first 3 pitches to Huff and these 2 pitches to Posey, all up. And finally a pitch that was down, but it was a split.
I mean, he's had to go to his secondary stuff frequently. I mean, normally you're going to see the fastball 70% of the time or so, and that has not been the case tonight. I'd say probably just about half the time.
Well, he recognizes he doesn't have his good fastball, so that's why he's going to other pitches in his delivery.
Reach back there and 95 over the outside corner on his 85th pitch of the evening. Sandoval on deck. 3-run home run from Sandoval in the first. 2-2 on Posey. This guy's one of those rare young hitters, Jeff, that can cover inside and outside and with 2 strikes.
And we saw it earlier in this game where he took that fastball in, then back in the first inning, and just pulled those hands in and hit it out to left center field. You're asking a lot of a young guy to come up and all of a sudden hit in the number 4 hole in your lineup. Just going back through my book, back to 07, Troy was hitting 8th in the lineup that year.
Dismiss. Crowd groaning. But it was off the plate.
Yeah, you can look at a 4 strike zone. Everything's been worked away, and this pitch off of the plate, well off the plate. Zabaldo wanted to make sure he followed through to get the pitch away from him.
I don't think he throws him a fastball here.
Well, you know, the difference, Drew, right now, and we mentioned this, 89-92 is a whole lot different than 94-97.
Yeah, he's doing a change-up, runner going, high throw. Wigginton got the tag down. Well done by Ty Wigginton as he tags Freddie Sanchez, and you get a strike him out, throw him out.
Well, you get a strikeout bailout's what you got. Now a runner on second instead of second and third. Second time on a 3-2 count that Bruce Bochy has ignited these runners. And he did it with Freddie Sanchez, with Aubrey Huff up at the plate. Had him going into second base, and then now trying to attempted steal a third base. Nice job by Wigginton to get the ball and get it back down again.
And Huey, for me, there's a couple reasons they tried to pull that off, because this is not a real swift team. But Bruce Bochy has a guy at the plate who's not going to strike out a ton, and he realizes Jimenez doesn't have his even close to his A-list stuff, so he says, you know what, I'm going to take a flyer on it. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, and a 4-0 lead, too.
Sure.
That's the other thing that factors into it. I'm playing with house money right now, so let me go ahead and roll the dice and see if I can pad to this a little bit, stay out of the double play.
1-0 on Sandoval. That was a good pitch. You know, that was more Baldo-esque. It still wasn't upper 90s. It was 95, but it was down. It's one of the few fastballs, George, we've seen down in the zone.
Down, and you notice a late run and sink on the ball away from the left-handed bat.
Challenged up there, and it's 1-2.
Now, Jimenez is to hit fourth in the bottom of the 5th inning, and his pitch count at 91 now. As Franklin continues to throw, it wouldn't surprise me to see them pull him out of the ball game after 5 innings. First things first, though, you still have Sandoval at the plate, and a runner at second, and 2 outs.
Here's the 1-2. He's got him at 96 miles an hour. So Ubaldo reaches back and he strikes out Pablo Sandoval. After the first 2 reach in the 5th, Ubaldo puts down the inning. Jose Lopez steps in the 5th inning. The Rockies have 1 knock against Jonathan Sanchez. Last night they didn't get their first knock to the 7th inning. I guess you can call that progress, but this is eerily familiar, isn't it, Jeff?
Yeah, and that base hit could have been ruled an error too.
You know what? That's a great point, because Nate Shearholt's got a ton of leather on it. In fact, it looked like he made the catch initially on Dexter Fowler's drive in the 1st inning that was ruled a double. This ball's hit pretty well to left. Burrow going back will make the catch. That's about the extent of his range. I'm not beating him up. He's been around a while. He's never been a fleet outfielder. It's Clayton Mortensen, our AT&T trivia question. Mortensen, 6 brilliant innings last night, just allowed 2 hits. What's the longest outing by a reliever in Rockies history? 6 1/3. He was close to that. Bruce Ruffin,
Who was a closer at one time.
In '93, in the middle of the summer, he was asked to go a long way, and he went 6 1/3. Wigginton walked. He and Fowler, the only 2 to have reached.
Well, Jim Tracy today was still singing the praises of Clayton Mortensen and what he was able to do and pick up the bullpen from last night. And rightfully so.
With that move today, the Rockies are really short on their bench. You have Seth Smith, who can pinch hit, but you don't want him running around with the groin strain. Jason Giambi, Jose Morales, your backup catcher, and then Johnny Herrera.
You basically have a 3-man bench. That's what it amounts to. And if you wanted to, I guess you could say you could pinch hit Esmil Rogers if you wanted to or had to as a former player, but it's not a guy you typically would want to send up there.
More likely have him pinch run if a guy like Smith got on, or Giambi. Two and 2 with 1 out. Ionette on deck. Sanchez hasn't rung up a great number of strikeouts tonight, just 2. But he hasn't given up many hard hit balls.
No, he had another one I'm thinking of, the one Burrell obviously that went to left field, the hard line drive to right field to center field to Ford made, and then the other side of it.
And you can see Seth Smith behind Dexter Fowler with a bat. Ball to, as George mentioned, do up 4th this inning. There's already 1 out. So
well, 93
somebody
pitches,
would have to reach.
92 pitches, and Frankie's still throwing in the bullpen gives me a pretty good indication either way. Morales may come into the ballgame.
As this series is unfolding, that is going to be a much needed day off Thursday. See some guys rest. Wigginton walks again.
Well, if you'd like to take a behind-the-scenes tour of Coors Field, group and individual tickets are available. You can also stop by if you're really nice and see Drew's private dressing room where he puts makeup and hairstyle. 303 Rockies for more information. Tickets available Monday through Friday. My producer Tavis just told me that's not on the card, and he's right. It's not. Take a tour of this beautiful, beautiful ballpark. Go into the visiting locker room, different areas of the park you normally would not get to see.
And if you're really nice, I'll let you do your makeup in there.
Yeah, well, I don't want to.
Eye on Chris Ionetta. He was called out on strikes his first time up on a 3-2 pitch on the outside corner. Misses 2-0. And here goes Buster Posey to the mound. Pretty poised young catcher, the National League Rookie of the Year from last year. Reminder, Toyota Talk will come your way tonight just in the post-game show this evening. Toyota Talk And the way you can involve yourself, text Toyota followed by a space and then your comments to 720-720. Seth Smith in the on-deck circle.
Low end of the fastball you'll see from Sanchez at 88 miles an hour.
I remember when he used to be at 93 to 94 mile an hour guy.
A little bit more of a pitcher now than what he used to be. Plus, Jeff, I have a really firm belief that power pitchers don't remain power pitchers for their entire career. At some point, they learn how to pitch a little bit. Randy Johnson, a good example, late in his career, split finger slider, still won a lot of baseball games. CC Sabathia now in the Yankees, 89, 92, but utilizes everything else in his delivery to win games.
Frank Tanana
was another guy that went through it. Nolan Ryan went through it the last 4 or 5 years of the career. But, you know, they learn how to pitch and learn how to really save the arm.
3-2 count again on Iannetta. 1 out. Wigginton is at first base. Baldo visiting with head trainer Keith Duggar. Given up 2 hits since that first inning. There goes Wigginton trying to stay out of the double play. And the throw goes into center field. Nobody covered on the walk to Iannetta. And Wigginton will get himself up and race to third. What happened in the middle of the infield there, Jeff Houston?
They just went to sleep. I mean, that's inexcusable for that ball to go out to center field. Understand you're waiting to see what happens with the guy at the plate, but you've got to assume that it's going to be called a strike. You get over there and at least keep it from going to center field.
Tough error on Buster Posey.
No kid.
And what happens on this sometimes, because this has happened to me before, is they will go down after the ball game and ask either the shortstop or the second baseman, all right, who was supposed to cover on that ball, and they'll give them an error.
Take a look at our Quest high-speed pitch tonight. Ubaldo hit 96 a couple of times. Jonathan Sanchez at 93. So Seth Smith will pinch hit. Our high-speed pitch brought to you by the fast, reliable, secure, heavy-duty internet from Quest. 2 on, 1 out. Rockies down 4-0. Hitting in the bottom of the 5th inning. Good swing there. Smith is off to a tremendous start. He's second on the club in extra base hits to Troy Tulowitzki. He has 10 extra base hits. Tulo has 11. Smith is actually second not only to Tulo on the club, he's second in the National League in extra base hits. And he's carried over, Jeff, that great approach left on left that he had throughout the spring.
Left center field, and that's what he's thinking right now. Drive the ball that way.
Unfortunately, he pops it up to Pat Burrow. Wigginton will tag. Burrow does not have a great arm. Here comes Wigginton down the line. The throw is not in time. Posey thought he tagged him. Wigginton didn't slide. Rockies have their first run. Also tagging up was Iannetta at first. So Smith gets a ribby. The Rockies within 3, and Iannetta is in scoring position. Bruce Bochy arguing with Eddie Rapuano.
Well, I just want to know why Wigginton fell down then if there was no contact at the plate. And that's exactly where Bochy's pointing right here. Did he get him? Ooh, on the backside. We'll be able to see more here than we will in a minute. Bochy just kind of visited for a second. Hey, Rapuano may have got blocked a little bit. Still, I think Wigginton was safe. See, Eddie Rapuano's behind. Watch for a pantomime. Ooh, he is out.
He's out.
Yeah, he is out.
He's out. And what
Sure
I want to
is.
know, the coach in that situation has to be the on-deck hitter. We couldn't see Dexter in that shot. But, Jeff, he's got to let him know he's got to get down.
You drop the bat down, you run up there, and you got to point and kind of move your arms. And so you got to go, you got to slide to the outside.
Because if he slides, he's going to be safe. I mean, not saying it's not going to be a fairly close play, but it's going to be, you would assume he's going to be safe. The throw's up the line a little bit, and it's high.
Did you see the little subtle thing he did coming off his third base, though? Kind of came inside that third base line. Try to see if maybe that ball might hit him on the backside as he's running towards home.
This ball pulled to third. Sandoval is going to chase down Chris Iannetta. He felt that was a safer play than trying to get Dexter Fowler flying up the line. In the inning, the Rockies get a run on the sac fly by Seth Smith. LTE rule the air on the most advanced 4G network in the world. Cruising around the American League, Tampa has been playing better baseball after a rough start. They beat the White Sox 2-1. Baltimore finally ends that losing streak. They blank Minnesota 11-0. The Yankees playing better. They're up 6-3 in the 8th inning. The Angels, tell you what, how about the start for Herron and Weaver, both 4-0. Kansas City. By the way, Jeff Francis is throwing the ball great for Kansas City. He hasn't been able to come up with the wins, but he is really throwing the ball well for the Kansas City Royals. And Boston and Oakland just getting underway. Detroit will be at Seattle a little bit later on. That's the American League scoreboard. Giants leading 4-1, top of 6. Ubaldo Jimenez gives up 4 in the first inning. And then blank the Giants the next 4 on 2 hits. He'll give way to Franklin Morales.
Fifth game for him to appear in, 5 1/3 innings. Last appearance came here at Coors Field. Now, for Franklin, needs to go out and eat up a couple of innings. He's 8 away in the batting order, so if he can pitch the 6th and 7th, it'll play into the hands of what Jim Tracy's trying to accomplish by saving part of that bullpen until tomorrow's day game.
Rockies got 4 hits last night. They have 1 hit tonight. Keep in mind, the run they just scored, an unearned run. There was a walk in the inning. Actually, there were 2 walks in an inning. An error. And then a sac fly. And, of course, from the Giants' perspective, and accurately so, Wigginton should have been out at the plate. Pat Burrell's 2 for 2, a couple of singles. Shallow center field. This could be a problem, and what a catch by Lopez. Showing some range there at second base. He's had most of his reps this year at third base.
Well, similar to the catch Johnny Herrera made last night, is just kind of bow your head and take off to a spot where you think the ball is. A little more difficult here. He's looking over that shoulder the entire time the ball's in flight. Just hope you run the right distance. Nice catch. You hear all those pitter patters coming at you too, don't you, Jeff?
Yeah, you do, and you're just hoping that you can catch it and hold on in case he does hit you. The hardest part about that play is making sure you reach your arms out far enough.
Comebacker Morales will take care of Shearholt's 2 outs. Wells Fargo customers get your 2-for-1 Rockies tickets today by going to wellsfargo.com/Rockies. See a Wells Fargo banker today for details. Wells Fargo Bank, member FDIC. Coors Field on a chilly Tuesday night. Not quite as cold as last night, we think. Jeff Houston would have a better idea.
The heater's on me again, Jeff. I'm pretty comfy.
You know what? I'm dressed a little different tonight.
You're selfish again. Huey, he did the same thing you did last week. Took the heater all to himself. I didn't even know it was down.
Smart man.
He never complained it was cold, so I tell you.
No, I was lucky tonight. Our executive producer, Ken Miller, said, okay, you can wear a little bit different stuff tonight, so I don't have the coat and tie. I'm much warmer tonight. Long johns.
How's it we didn't get to weigh in on that decision?
Because you have a heater up there.
No, that's wrong, Jeff. I have a heater up here.
Yeah, you guys do down here. I got the slacks on, but I'm bundled up underneath there. Couple nice jackets on, Under Armour. I'm good to go.
One thing about bullpen guys and utility players, we know how to dress when it's cold.
Exactly.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Mike Fontenot. And they have changed that error, Jeff.
Yep.
You as a middle infielder sensitive to that. You know when you ought to be covering, and they've given Freddie Sanchez the error. I'm sure they called down to the Giants dugout.
Yeah, it happened to me one time in Baltimore. Same thing. I was playing shortstop. I gave Manny Alexander the sign. You got coverage, and ball went into center field. They asked, and I said, hey. I gave him the coverage. He didn't cover. He said, yeah, it was my fault. They gave him the error. So that's why I knew they'd probably change it, because I've been involved in that play before.
Just throw your teammate under the bus.
Oh, heck yeah.
They don't. Hey, Huey, they don't give half errors.
Nope, they don't. Yeah, I had enough trouble.
Pulled down the line. That's a fair ball. Mike Fontenot. He's kicking it in. He's looking for 3 bags. Throw on the way. He's not going to be there in time. And Fontenot has a triple.
Fontenot shoots this ball against the left-hander. Breaking ball just hung up into the strike zone. Shoots it right by Todd Helton down the right field line, just over the bag. As it gets into that corner, it's going to kick where that wall jets out and goes away from Spilborghs. And when Spilly got to it, picks it up immediately. But by then, Fontenot had decided to make that turn and head in to the third base bag safely.
Now, Huey, as a base runner there, Fontenot, why is he looking back over his shoulder?
He shouldn't. Anytime the ball is behind you, you look to see where it is. You pick up the base and you pick up your third base coach. If it was in left center field, different story.
Jonathan Sanchez at the plate, and the fastball's hot.
A big difference. Just 76 pitches through 5 innings for Sanchez. He's going to go out and again, obviously, for the 6th inning. This with 2 outs. Don't allow leadoff man, even though it's Darren Ford, who has yet to get a hit in 2011, allow him to come to the plate, falling behind 2-0.
No, you have to regather your focus here if you're Franklin Morales, who's behind 2-0, and end this threat right here. You got the pitcher up, the Rockies down just 3 runs. Another 94-mile-an-hour fastball on past Jonathan Sanchez. Don't mess around, give him another one.
Same spot, same speed. Let's go. Be done. Go into the dugout.
Two-two, and he strikes him out. So Fontenot left at third after tripling. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th inning. The Giants 4 and the Rockies 1. On the ace, Ubaldo Jimenez, and many of his firsts. He owns a lot of firsts in Rockies history. You'll hear from his pitching coach, Bob Apodaca, and you'll also learn about his growing popularity, not only here in the States, but back home in the Dominican Republic as well. That's Rockies All Access. They focus on the Chief Thursday at 6:30. Rockies in the bottom of the 6th inning will have 2, 3, and 4 in their lineup. Ryan Spilborgh's a ground ball to third and a strikeout. Sanchez has given up 1 hit, and that one was questionable. Dexter Fowler's drive to right field in the bottom of the 1st inning. First Rockies hitter of the night. Shearholtz almost made the catch. He had a lot of leather on it. He was ruled a double. The Rockies don't have anything to speak of since then, other than 3 walks.
7 ground ball outs, 6 fly ball outs to go along with those couple of strikeouts.
You know, the amazing thing about this Giants staff, and you have to give credit to Brian Sabian and his baseball development crew, 4/5 of their rotation are homegrown. Lincecum at number 1, Kane at number 1, Bumgarner's at number 1. This kid was a 27th round draft pick, though.
Yeah, he was. And, you know, again, he was a guy that had good velocity. I've talked to a number of scouts that were cross-checkers at the time and showed good velocity, showed a lot of positives, but he didn't throw strikes. He was all over the place. He was made a
diving stop by Fontenot, and he's going to throw out Spilborgh's. That's one of the 2 hardest hit balls of the night for the Rockies. The other off the bat of Jose Lopez. One gone. Cargo coming up, and we'll visit with Alana Rizzo. Alana?
All right, guys, thanks very much. Of course, Ubaldo Jimenez reinstated from the 15-day DL today, and it brings me a question off of my Facebook fan page. They wanted to ask you and George if you have to be on the DL for a certain amount of days, for example, 15 days or 60 days, or can you come off when you're medically eligible to come off? If you want to answer that question for Brandon Rickett of Colorado Springs, guys, that would be great.
Well, if you're on the 15-day DL, Brandon, Cargo trying to bunt his way on. Interesting. If you're on the 15-day DL and you're healthy after 10 days, you still cannot come off until the 15 days have expired. Now, here's something you may not know, Brandon. Let's say a player got hurt on April 1st, and he thought, you know what, a couple days off, maybe I'll be okay. And on April 4th, they realized, you know what, he needs more time. That's a strike also, 0-2. Well, if he hadn't played since April 1st, you can put him on the disabled list on April 4th, April 6th, whatever, and make it retroactive back to the last day that he played.
Shortens the distance up for recovery, obviously. Instead of going on the 6th and waiting till the 21st. Back on the 15th. Cargo is, as much as you talked about it, and it's all true. What he did against left-handers a year ago has struggled in 2011. He's now 1 for 16 and 0 for 13 against Mr. Sanchez.
Yeah, he's only reached 1 time against Sanchez. Now he's on a walk. A little different perspective. And again, he goes fishing after that breaking ball, and he is a strikeout victim. All right, Alana.
Well, guys, quickly, just wanted to remind our fans at Root Sports, we really care about what the fans want to know and what they want to learn about. So you can follow us on Twitter and Facebook. All of us now have, much to Tom and Drew's delight, I'm sure, all have Facebook and Twitter sites. Just don't forget, you can go and either friend us or like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and of course, Root Sports Rocky Mountain Region has both of those sites as well. So get involved. We'd love to hear from you.
Hey, Alana.
Yes, sir.
Just remember, I don't have Twitter and I don't have Facebook, so I really like the fact that you and Drew tell me what people want to know.
Well, I understand, and that's why, if there's a question for you specifically, Frage, I always make sure to put it on my Facebook, and then I ask you the question on behalf of our fans.
It's like you all. Well, you forgot I'm not part of that you all on that Twitter and Facebook stuff.
Well, we know that you're old school, but I will make sure that you know what your fans are thinking.
Well, you've been good. Yeah, you've been great about it. Drew's been great about it.
You kidding me? Any question I have, I always go to Alana. Well, did I not?
She's the Facebook queen.
She is the Facebook queen, and you and I didn't even know what tweet meant.
No.
About a month ago.
Still not sure I do, Drew.
Yeah. I was wondering why everybody always spelled words wrong on Twitter, and I realized, well, you only have 140 characters.
Well, I knew something was wrong when you're tweeting, or whatever that's called, in New York, that I was eating breakfast twice. And I thought, this has really got to be a boring day for Drew Goodman to tweet that I'm eating breakfast twice.
That's in there for a strike. It's 1-2. Tulowitzki, a ground ball to short, and comebacker. Jonathan Sanchez, he hasn't been loading up on the punch outs as he typically does. And as we have said a number of times now, nobody's hitting the ball hard. And Tulowitzki claiming it's a foul ball.
No.
Yes, not. He didn't move. Well, that's odd. That's the end of the inning. 2 punch outs for Sanchez. Four to 1 to score. Scoreboard this evening. Milwaukee shuts out Philadelphia in Philadelphia 9-0. Brewers have a much improved pitching staff. Arizona wins in Cincinnati again 5-4. By the way, Chris Leak, who had some issues allegedly yesterday at a department store, is still scheduled to make his start on Thursday. Florida shuts out Pittsburgh 6-0. The Mets lose again, no surprise, 6-1 to Houston tonight. And weather in Chicago has postponed that ball game between the Cubs and the Padres. They're delayed in St. Louis, a tornado warning there. And the Dodgers and Braves just underway. 4-1 here in Denver at 20th and Blake. And at the top of the 7th inning, Franklin Morales will face Darren Ford in the top of the Giants order. He's getting closer to coming back for Milwaukee, Zach Greinke.
Yeah, he is. And again, he got hurt playing basketball in the offseason in his rib cage. I'm sure that made all the Brewer management from Doug Melvin on down really happy that happened.
Ford came into the ball game in the 3rd inning. Aaron Rowan was hit by a pitch leading off the ball game by Ubaldo Jimenez, and he has a contusion on the right forearm and played a couple more innings, then departed. So Ford has had 1 at bat, a fly ball to Dexter Fowler in center. Giants have dominated so far in this series. The way they ran to a world championship last year with superior pitching, superior starting pitching. You see Miguel Tejada on the right. He's been given the night off. I was talking to a longtime National League scout earlier, and I said, all right, who's the best team you've seen? He said, well, thought about it for a while. I said, probably the best team I've seen, only because of their rotation, is Philadelphia. He said the most balanced team, top to bottom, he said clearly is the Colorado Rockies.
You hear that from numerous scouts that And a lot of these guys are not just talking about 1 or 2 days of coverage. You're talking about 5 to 7 days coverage because they want to come in and see all 5 starters, everybody in the bullpen before they leave the park. So they're seeing each hitter 20 to 25 times. Leadoff walk, not what you want here in the 7th. Well, the first 10,000 fans on April the 30th will receive a Great Clips coupon. And Doug, I'm going to try to get you some of those so you go buy Great Clips. The old hippie over here, get his hair trimmed up.
Dave Platty from CU.
Yeah, Dave, you don't need a haircut. Visit your chin.
Dave's been he's been the SID at CU for 48 years. About right, huh? Pride of Woodlands High School in Westchester County, New York. Well, Darren Ford, one of the few guys on the Giant roster, Huey, who can run.
And they'll look to run early on, too.
Well, they did it last time with Freddie Sanchez on a 3-2 count. Then they had first and second, 3-2 count, but everybody going again. So, I mean, Bochy's not scared right now to let it fly wherever he can to try to advance runners.
Freddie Sanchez, a career .350 hitter against the Rockies in 49 ball games.
Ford has a big lead.
Huey safe or out?
I thought he was safe only because he tagged him up on his back.
Now, Brian O'Nora is standing right flat on top of him.
Roberto Kelly saying, hey, a young man, that was pretty close.
You see this anchor? You feel this rope I'm pulling on you? You better figure this out. Of course, Steve Palermo came to spring training this year and went over the balk or the supposed balk move of Franklin Morales. Whoa. Everybody ducked. That'd take a house there.
How about Todd coming up with that baseball?
Yeah, Ford's a little dizzy after that. A little knock on the noggin.
See, with two picks like that, though, if I'm Ford, I take off this next pitch.
You know what, Huey? You've mentioned that you were a good base stealer. Whoa. Yeah, Todd caught it, and he also
almost clothesline.
Do you know what? He's almost out on that.
Right, he was, huh?
There he goes. Your theory, and he steals second. You said that to me so many times through the years.
Yep.
2 picks, I'm going because chances are the lefty's not coming over on the third.
Well, and especially with that second one, kind of almost threw it away. So the thinking, at least for a base stealer, is I don't think he's going to come over here again because he doesn't want to risk throwing it down the right field line. I'm going to just take off first movement.
Ford in scoring position. Sanchez, who has 2 knocks tonight, is at the plate with an 0-1 count.
Jeff, question for middle infield play right now. It seems to be shortened up without a runner on first. Why?
Because you need to make sure you hold the guy at second base, and Freddie might bunt.
I mean, you know, it seems like everything's shortened up distance-wise to the plate. I know you're talking about holding on, but I mean, they don't. You know, it just seems strange with a guy that can swing the bat right now that you know, the closer you come into the plate and pull them in, the less range you have defensively.
It is true, though, but you've got to worry about this guy because he can handle the bat so well. He can drop down the bunt down towards third base. Todd's got to realize the same thing over at first base. They're trying to play to get to that 4th run, so it takes a grand slam to try to beat you then. So that's what they're thinking about right now, especially at the corners.
1-1 to Freddie Sanchez. He's kind of inside out that, moved the ball to the right side. I don't know how he didn't have that bat blown up in his hands. Thing almost hit him. 1-2. Windshield damage. Call Safelite Auto Glass at 303-287-5000 or go to safelight.com. The Rockies have 1 hit tonight, and we're in the 7th inning. Last night, going to the bottom of the 7th, they didn't have any hits. Hold on and miss. Sanchez is gone.
Yeah, this kind of a jump push swing, though. He's trying to do nothing but hit the ball to the right side with nobody out. That's not typical Freddie Sanchez type swing. Watch out. All he's trying to do is hit it to the right side any way he can. He just blew the ball right by him up in the upper half of the strike zone.
It's almost the same area that he hit that double last night in his very first at bat. Up and away from him. Anytime you're able to get him on the strikeout.
Aubrey Huff at the plate.
Ford thought about it. Huge jump out at second base. A lot of times, Tulowitzki, if you're comfortable with a pitcher that can throw to bases and you're not worried about him throwing the ball away, you'll go ahead and make that pick. But as we know, Frankie Morales at times can let the game get quick and make an errant throw. You're already down 3. You don't want a ball scooting into center field with 1 out.
So now you just kind of sit in his back pocket if you're Troy.
That was an interesting move there, Huey, because he never looked. And then he bluffed the inside move.
Well, you have to vary your moves if you're the pitcher. Sometimes you go no look, maybe a 1 look back to second, or a 2 look.
It's the same move he just tried.
Now, if you're Ford, I'm not worried about that inside move again. So the only thing I'm thinking about is, could it be a daylight? If not, if I read this okay, I know there's a lefty up. I could take off, though.
This ball's crushed. 2 more runs for the San Francisco Giants. Aubrey Huff hit it off the facade of the second deck, and the Giants expand the lead to 6-1.
Fastball inner half of the plate, Drew, on that swing, and that's one place where he's a left-hander, because Aubrey has a tendency to bail on left-handers. And so when you bail, you're playing right into the power of that hitter. And that's exactly what happened on the inside fastball. Boy, did he know it when he left the bat. I mean, it was an immediate reaction from him. That ball inner half, look how much of a miss this is. Watch how he let his glove reach back to that inner half when he wanted it on the outside corner, and then the fly to the ball. It's not a happy sight for Rockies fans.
Buster Posey at the plate. And a strike. Huey, do you think Ford distracting Morales at all affects that pitch?
I think so, because you saw how much Chris had to move across, and then Frankie just went quick. He didn't even look back to second. So he was, his mind, and George could probably agree with this, is his mind was distracted half between the guy at second and the guy at the plate.
You know, one thing I learned as I got farther into my career, if I get the guy at the plate, I don't have to worry about anything else. You know, I mean, really, and really, the only guys that really bothered me, and I'm going back a lot in time here, but was the Vince Coleman, Ricky Henderson type base stealers. You know, and I finally just got it in my head, hey, if I get the guy out at home, I don't have to worry about him. And so I, you know, really put that focus in, but it took a lot of years of maturity to realize that as a pitcher.
22 home runs for the Giants now. And Posey got that on the barrel. He just missed it by a couple of clicks. Will eventually come down. Cargo makes the catch. 2 outs. I saw that graphic. The Giants have hit more home runs here visiting teams than anybody else. Well, the Rockies, you know, listen, they haven't done anything tonight offensively, but the score's 4-1 as opposed to 8-1 at the start of the inning. So you're saying, you know what, you're still in this thing.
Well, you felt like you were, yeah. I mean, 4-1, now you get 6-1, and the way their bullpen works. And here's the other thing that plays a huge advantage for Bruce Bochy and Dave Righetti. 3 left-handers in their bullpen. They got 2 power guys in Affeld and Runzler. Then they have the sneaky lefty that can drop it down, and former Rocky Javier Lopez. So the mixed match that they can use to get to Brian Wilson, their closer, it works in the favor of Bochy, who is, along with Jim Tracy, a very good manager from that 7th inning on.
Yeah, and Romo's given up 1 hit against right-handed bats this year.
And it's also rested now after what Lincecum was able to do last night.
Just looking at some of the numbers from Sunday in particular, when they went 12 innings and lost 6-5 against Arizona. Even though the bullpen had to pick up a number of innings, there were a lot of short innings in terms of pitch count. Sandoval's a strikeout victim, but Aubrey Huff, it's a long home run against Franklin Morales to make it 6-1. Home run to Pablo Sandoval as he knocked it off the back wall of the Rockies bullpen. And then Aubrey Huff a moment ago, a 2-run shot against Franklin Morales. And Jonathan Sanchez, like Lincecum yesterday, has been almost unhittable. The Rockies have 1 hit tonight against Sanchez as they come up in the 7th inning. Look back brought to you by Cooney Lexus, where luxury has an address. Todd Helton to face Sanchez here in the 7th. Sanchez at 88 pitches, and that's a swinging bunt. Easy play for Posey. 1 out. There's been a few of those tonight. The strikeout total just 4, Huey, for Sanchez, but the mishit baseballs tonight, he's in double figures.
Yeah, and we've seen it. We saw it a couple innings ago with both Carlos and Troy just doing the same thing. And now Todd. The thing for Sanchez tonight is he's really done a fine job of pitching. And not only with the fastball, the slider, the changeups, even in an 0-0 count or 1-0, you just really no pattern at all.
Pretty good for your 3rd starter. Call Bumgarner your 4th starter.
Yeah, that's not bad, is it? Well, think about what you just mentioned a minute ago with 3 #1 draft picks in their rotation, and all 3 have done just what they thought they would. Dick Tidrow, who runs the minor leagues, oversees the scouting department and development. But they've had 3 #1 draft picks not too far apart here make it to the big leagues. Paulino,
and
not coming.
Yeah, and George, not just make it to the big leagues.
2 Cy Youngs.
Yeah.
I mean, dominance.
Dominant #1s. Here's a 2-0. That's high to Lopez.
Tell you what, when I watched Bumgarner when he was in high school, saw him in some events. He came out the same year my son did, and so I was able to see him at some of the perfect practice stuff, the perfect game stuff, and you would see him in these showcases. And it's amazing because now he doesn't throw as hard as what he did at high school level at 96. Hey, the Colorado Rockies home run for the homeless 5K is Sunday, May 8th. Call 303-312-2411 for more information on this. So remember the date, May 8th, the home run for the homeless. It's a 5K.
Dave Righetti's going to go out and just check on Jonathan Sanchez. That's his 4th walk. 4 walks, allowed 1 hit. I'm going to read you a statistic from last year that's kind of mind-boggling. It just tells you what this game is all about, and in particular what the Giants are all about. When the Giants scored 3 runs in a game or more last year, they were 80-24, a winning percentage of .769, which was the best in baseball. Think about that. You scored 3 runs, not 5 runs, 3 runs, and they won 80 ball games, lost only 24.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, absolutely amazing. But again, it's a testament to that starting staff, the bullpen, and what they worked, and the abilities of what they had with Brian Wilson closing games, the other guys setting up the ball games. Javier Lopez, the left-hander, going down in their bullpen. Romo, the right-hander, going. Excuse me, Ramon Ramirez, 2 former Rockies heating it up.
That's a strike on Wigginton. It's 1-1. Base hit for Wigginton. And now they're 2 on for Chris Iannetta. And we come back to the point I made last half inning, Jeff. Even though the Rockies hadn't done anything, they were still very much in touch, down 3 runs. This would be the tying run at the plate. That's how big that blow was from Aubrey Huff.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, Drew, because of 3 runs, your mentality as a hitter is going, okay, I got a chance here with a couple guys on to tie it up. Now you're thinking, okay, I'd like to obviously hit a home run, but I got to keep this thing going for the guy that's hitting behind me, who's come to the on-deck circle, and that's Jonathan Herrera.
Well, I watched Bruce Bochy right now. He's putting a lot of conversation, and he wanted to make sure that Posey went out and talked to Sanchez, because what he's trying to avoid is to let this get back into it and then flip into the heart of this lineup when he gets into the bullpen. He'd love, with 1 out, to bring in Ramirez, who throws a split and a hard sinker, to try to get a double play ball with Iannetta there. And if he has to, start countering with the other left-hander, Lopez.
You know, Jonathan Sanchez has thrown a gem to this point. He goes 6 1/3. And he leaves having allowed 2 hits. His club's ahead 6-1. Back in a moment. You haven't, listen up. Let College Invest help you get started. And by the way, when that day arrives, when the kids head off to college, you can use your College Invest savings anywhere in the country at colleges, universities, qualified trade schools, and more. Get started today at collegeinvest.org. I don't know how many baseball games he's taken in yet, but he's having fun. Got mittens on him for this one. You know what? Huey's got his mittens on too, so it's okay.
It's all right. Yeah. Smart man. Smart mom.
Well, the former Rocky has found a home here after going on over to the Kansas City Royals. His hard-throwing right-hander is a guy that can come in and punch some people out. 10 innings pitched, 1-0 over his 9 ball games so far. You'd love to see that right now. Chris Iannetta hit it right where they're sitting.
Jonathan Herrera in the on-deck circle to hit for Franklin Morales. The Rockies have only 3 players left on their bench. Again, they have an extra pitcher. Stewart was optioned out to make room for Ubaldo Jimenez. And that pitch misses. Smith has already been used. He drove in the Rockies' only run with a sac fly to left. Giambi, Herrera, and Morales comprise the Rockies' bench. 1-0 on Iannetta. Lopez walked. He's at second. Wigginton a single. He's at first. 1-1. By the way, for Ty Wigginton, career hit number 999.
Yeah, how cool is that?
Well, it'll be a lot cooler when he gets the next hit.
Oh, no, he probably enjoyed all 999 of them.
If you ask him, he probably remembers all 999.
And the count. And the pitch.
Ball to strike, 1-2.
Against the Rockies, Ramirez has been very successful over 6 ball games, 5 2/3, 6 strikeouts, 3 hits. They've hit 158 against him. There's that hard sinker off of the 4th strike zone, but yet in Ed Rapalano's strike zone.
Posey sets up away, and Iannetta's gone. Well, Ramirez was sent to Kansas City, if my memory's right, for Jorge De La Rosa, George.
That is exactly right. 2 guys out of options, 2 guys that kind of wore out their welcome with their both ball clubs, and to be quite honest, it worked out for everyone. Well, Johnny Herrera is on the pinch hit now.
A lot of room in right center. That's a strike. Center fielder Darren Ford has really swung over in the opposite gap. Rockies have played uphill in this series from Jump Street. Gave up 5 in the first last night, 4 in the first tonight. Reynolds on the left side and Felipe Paulino, who we showed you a moment ago, on the right side.
For the workload that Ramirez has had to handle through his career, he's been able to keep his velocity about where it is, 90-93 with that split heavy sink.
Tracy hoping to see his team bunch a few hits together and get back in this game, down 6-1. And that's Luke foul. Sandoval is going to run out of real estate. And it is 2 balls and 2 strikes. Posey will move late, not to give away location. And it goes on the outside corner. We're talking about the homegrown pitching rotation. Brian Wilson was drafted by San Francisco at LSU. For their rotation, save Barry Zito and their all-star closer, all homegrown. That's been the ticket for the Rockies also. It's down. More so with position players. Obviously the Rays who ball those homegrown. For the Giants, their position player group, homegrown players, Posey behind the dish, and Pablo Sandoval at third, most notably.
Exactly, and that's where they've had to go out and get a lot of players to come up here.
And they've gone the veteran route. They've gone the 30-plus route.
Yep, it's paid off.
3-2. Runners going, and this is fouled off out of play. You know, we haven't seen him yet in this series. I mean, Mark DeRosa's on their bench.
Battled injuries, man. A lot of injuries over the last 3 or 4 years for him.
You know, and Uribe departs, and they go sign Miguel Tejada. So again, they don't go try to sign a 28-year-old guy. They went with a guy that's had a long career and a very good career, an outstanding career. Down the line, foul. A reminder, coming up in the Toyota postgame show, we'll have Toyota Talk. And the way you can involve yourself, text Toyota followed by a space, and then your comments and questions to 720-720. That is Toyota Talk. Lopez and Wigginton again will be moving 3-2. Ramirez working a Herrera with Dexter Fowler on deck. 2 outs in the 7th. Ball 4. Great at bat from Herrera. And Dexter will come up with the bases juiced.
Well, you hope to take your shot and have your opportunity, and the Rockies are getting it right now.
What a tremendous at bat, Jeff.
Well, you know what? It's just Jonathan Herrera, though. We've seen it so many times where he might fall behind in the count, but ends up fouling off it and spoiling a couple pitches. And then he always seems to be in the middle of something. And right now, it's to get that walk to bring up Dexter with the bases loaded.
Yeah, with 2 outs and bases loaded, the Rockies on the season 3 for 13. They've hit .231. This first time Dexter has appeared at the plate with the bases loaded in 2011.
Jim Tracy talking in the dugout earlier today about how Dexter continues to grow. I think oftentimes he's overshadowed by. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a moment. He comes through here. He drives it to right field. At least two will score. Herrera is going to get a stop sign. Dexter Fowler didn't wait long. He just drove in two, and the Rockies back in touch. It is 6-3. Another double for Fowler, his second of the ball game, his 8th of the year among the National League leaders in that department.
6 for 13 with runners in scoring position this year for Dexter Fowler. This is a line drive down into the corner. Sherholz cuts it off well. That's what prevented the third run from coming in, and you're in a 6-3 ball game with Spielborg's at the plate.
If he throws out a base hit, it becomes a one-run game. Billy, you noticed Jeff had been pulling off pitches, and it looked like he pulled off that one a little bit, didn't it?
Yeah, and it's all because of that front side, just jumping towards the pitcher, not quite staying back long enough on that back leg before he starts to fire and seeing the pitch.
Yeah, he's probably going to see another several sliders.
Well, you start to wonder now, if you go to Giambi, they're going to bring in Lopez. Hypothetically, if you pinch hit for Spielborgs, then you move Johnny Herrera, or Wigington to the outfield. So a lot of shuffling would happen, and with a 4-man bench, it limits the chess game.
That's why I think you kind of have to wait and save Giambi to see if something would happen in the ninth.
Yeah, exactly, because you have to keep in mind it's still the 7th inning. Swung on and missed. Spielborg strikes out against Ramirez, but Dexter Fowler comes through with a 2-run double. 9 RBIs now for the Rockies leadoff man. And the Rockies close the gap. It is 6-3 San Francisco after 7. Summary is brought to you by Ecotech Institute in Denver, where you can make the world your workplace. The Rockies got a couple of runs in the 7th. It is 6-3 Giants. Jonathan Sanchez ends up going 6 1/3. He allows 3 runs, 2 earned on just 2 hits. And Felipe Paulino takes over, and he begins with a changeup to Pat Burrow, ball 1. 8th appearance for Paulino, and 6 of his 7 appearances have been very good. He had one tough outing. But that happens, George, in your old business.
And the thing is, all the numbers takes about 2 weeks for it to recover. That's the worst part about having that. You got to have 8 or 9 shutout innings to bring your ERA back to where it has some respectability.
Paulino will try to get 3 quick outs and get the Rockies back to the dugout. See if they can pick up some momentum offensively. That'll work.
Well, the good side,
skies to Fowler, 1 gone.
the good side of things here, you have Gonzalez, Tulowitzki, and Helton tonight. It'll be the 1-2-3 punch of that inning. They're 0 for 9 combined tonight. I hope that changes when the Rockies come back in the bottom of the 8th.
Nate Shearholtz steps in. He's 0 for 3 tonight. Franklin Morales goes 2 innings. He allows 2 runs on 2 hits. He walked 1 and struck out 3. He gave up that 2-run home run to Aubrey Huff. Ubaldo Jimenez, who started the game for the Rockies, if you missed it, he gave up 4 runs in the first. We thought we were revisiting last night when Esmil Rogers struggled. Ubaldo gave up a 3-run home run to Pablo Sandoval after Buster Posey had driven in the first run of the game with a base hit. After that, Ubaldo settled in. He threw 4 scoreless innings and gave up just 2 hits after the first. All in all, 5 innings, 4 runs, 6 hits, a couple of walks, 6 strikeouts. He hit 96 on the gun a couple of times. A bunch of 95s. The velocity still not where we're accustomed to seeing it. Better than what we saw opening day, Jeff. But a lot of pitches up, and the breaking stuff not real crisp.
And the thing that I'm looking forward to hear his comments after the game, to say how his arm felt, how that thumb felt. Was there any repercussions from that? That's what I'm really looking forward to tonight. Because you know what? I think sometimes we just expect Ubaldo to be Superman, and when he went out there tonight, kind of hoping that kind of revisit some of that magic, but this doesn't happen sometimes. So is he going to be okay? Was everything all right with the arm and the thumb?
Yeah, that's the key. I mean, you want him healthy and making progress to returning to what the norm is for Ubaldo.
And that may be 2 starts away where that arm strength comes back, because it'll be the long toss that he does in between starts that builds that arm strength back where you need it.
1 and 2 on Shearholtz. And a strikeout, unless that's a foul ball, no?
I think so.
He didn't contact that. Shearholtz stood there. Iannetta tagged him. Strikeout from Paulino. Time for our Home Depot doing more on defense. That's a great catch by Lopez. Jeff Houston described earlier, it's kind of scary because, you know, there's a lot of room out there, and you know some outfielder like Dexter Fowler's flying in, and he's looking up in the sky. And we have seen some ugly collisions through the years. Nice play by Jose Lopez. Our Home Depot doing more on defense. Here's Mike Fontenot. Fontenot a walk, the fly ball to right, and a triple. The Giants are in the midst of a tough stretch. We're talking about the Rockies, who are going to be out on the road quite a bit over the next couple of weeks. The Giants are in the midst of 16 of 19 on the road, and they're 3-1 so far, and they're leading here in the 8th inning by 3 runs. Giants started 1-4, but they've been very good since that rough beginning. And the young kid who plays first base, Brandon Belt, is in the on-deck circle. The trio's in there 3-1. George talked about this earlier in the broadcast. Cody Ross, NLCS MVP, is back with the team, and in all likelihood will come off the DL tomorrow. Let's see what kind of move the Giants make. One of the rumors is that the young kid Belt, who's now not playing much, would go down and get everyday at bats.
So if Cody comes back, it basically leaves you 4 outfielders. You know, I mean, it just kind of changes things around for you. Matt Reynolds had been warming up in the Rockies bullpen. He'll come on to face the left-handed hitting Belt as that chess game continues between Jim Tracy and Bruce Bochy.
So Paulino walks off, 2 outs in the 8th inning. The Giants ahead 6-3. 7 a.m. is too early for you. Stick around after tonight's postgame for highlights of today's Dan Patrick Show. It's the best in sports and celebrity news as well. And it's only on Root Sports. Back at 20th and Blake with George Frazier, Jeff Houston, and Alana Rizzo. I'm Drew Goodman. The Rockies trailing 6-3. Brandon Belt, the much heralded young prospect for the Giants, in there against Matt Reynolds, and he takes a healthy hack and fouls it straight back. This guy hit above 350 last year in the minor leagues, and many prognosticators felt like he may be in the running for a Rookie of the Year in 2011. He's struggling out of the gate.
Well, in fairness to him, he played in the Cal League last year and then he moved to AA, AAA, and of course he had that phenomenal spring training. I mean, in fairness to him, this is a whole nother league than where he's been. If he's not going to play consistently every day, that bat needs to continue to develop at the minor league level.
University of Texas product, and I don't know how many sliders he saw like that in the Big 12.
No, not many. And again, I mean, it's one of those deals where he just had phenomenal success very quickly. And so now you think it's going to transpire here, and he could use everything with Cody Ross hurt. You know, they could play Aubrey Huff in the outfield against right-handers if he hits. And unfortunately, he has not hit. He has gotten 51 at bats in, 10 for 51.
Yeah, George, I think a real accurate point that you made. He jumped from A-ball last year.
Right.
And he had 352, 23 home runs, 112 RBIs between the three levels, 22 stolen bases. You know, he's an athlete.
Right. He's a very good athlete. But then once again, you just don't want, you know, you're getting to a level now. This is the only league. There's not one above it. It's a very difficult league to play in.
First pro season, too.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's very difficult.
3-2. So Fontenot will be off. And that's strike 3. Good pitch by Reynolds. So he comes in and he gets the lefty Belt. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th inning. The Rockies have 6 outs to work with. They're down by 3. They'll try to rally at Coors Field against the Giants' pen. Time for tonight's Excel Energy High Efficiency Inning, brought to you by Excel Energy. Learn how you too can be efficient when it comes to your energy and visit responsiblebynature.com. Well, the Giants, if you eliminate the first inning, the Rockies are beating the Giants in the series 4-2. The problem is the Giants have scored 9 runs in the first inning. They got 5 last night, 4 tonight on the Pablo Sandoval blast. They had 3 on that swing alone, and then another run on a Buster Posey hit. Aubrey Huff has exchanged his first baseman's glove for an outfield glove. He's in left field. Brandon Belt, a good defensive player at first, is situated there, and the former Rocky Javier Lopez, who's now a 2-time World Series champion. He won a ring with Boston. And he just won a ring last fall with the San Francisco Giants. He still makes his home in Golden. Cargo leading things off. He's 0 for 3. Look out, Richie Dower.
In his career against Lopez, 1 for 5, but that one a big one, a home run that he hit against him. He has struggled against left-handers this year. By the way, 30,320 in attendance at the ballpark tonight.
Some hardy souls, because it's been a chilly couple of days. And the Rockies appreciate all 30,000. And this is chopped to first. Belt will have a very easy play. 1 out. Who wants tacos? Fans, if you'd like to receive text message alerts when the Rockies score 7 or more, and that's what the Rockies need. They need 7 tonight. And we'll let you know about the Rockies taco special. Text the keyword taco to 720-720. Feed your Rockies fever only at Taco Bell. Tulowitzki's 0 for 3. The Rockies have 3 hits. Dexter Fowler, 2 of them, 2 doubles. And Ty Wigginton, who's been on all 3 times tonight, 2 walks and a single.
Because Lopez was able to retire Gonzalez, he's allowed to stay in even with the left-hander in the on-deck circle and Todd Helton. You're still not going to let Tulowitzki hit left against, right-handed against a left-handed pitcher if there's a man on base. A solo shot doesn't kill you right now. It's just 1 run versus the 2.
Javi Lopez has carved himself out in a very fine career. Sandoval, 2 outs.
Well, what he's done too is he's taken the arm up to the upper side, not only sidearm now, but he'll go up 3/4 on people and run it up to 90, 91 miles an hour. So he's changed a little bit of what he does philosophy-wise and still recording outs.
Matt Lindstrom throwing. 2 outs, nobody on for help. Ball's going to twist into the seats. Huff gives it a look. Javi Lopez is out of the University of Virginia.
Did his wife get her doctorate? She was working on her doctorate. Wasn't it at Boston College or somewhere?
I believe it was in Knoxville, because at the University of Tennessee, because he was living there for a couple off seasons. And as I mentioned, they now make their home and have for I believe a few years here in suburban Denver in the foothills. Good guy. What a really good guy
really nice
Javi
guy.
Lopez is. And he strikes out Helton. He works a 1-2-3 8th inning. He gets Cargo, Tulowitzki, and Helton. So the Rockies don't get anything done there. We'll go to the 9th, 6-3. Right now, get the All-American Jack Combo with fries and a drink for only $4.99 plus tax. By the Colorado Lottery, don't forget to play. And by Southwest Airlines, new Rapid Rewards, unlimited reward seats, and no blackout dates. Giants got 4 in the first. They've led in every inning of the 2 games in this series so far. For a preview on what's to come on the Toyota post-game show, here's Tom Helmer out in center field. Hey, Tom.
Yeah, Drew, we're going to talk about a Giant disappointment. If the Giants hold on this one, this will be the first series that the Rockies have lost all season. We'll also talk about Panda Express, Pablo Sandoval. Big home run in the first inning. Of course, right now, that would be the winning home run if the Rockies can't add on. And, of course, we'll get you down into the clubhouse, hear what the Rockies have to say about this game. But hopefully, we're looking a little ninth-inning magic, Drew.
That would be great. We'll all, you know, if that happens, Tom, you're going to have an overflow crowd in center field, I guarantee it. And don't forget, again, Toyota Talk continues during the entire post-game show, so keep texting in your comments. Matt Lindstrom on for the 9th time. That's been outstanding. They look to get the Rockies to the bottom of the 9th, just down by 3. He'll face Darren Ford here, Freddie Sanchez, and Aubrey Huff. Last night, the Rockies used 2 pitchers. Jim Tracy remarked this afternoon, he said, I don't know if I've ever seen a game where I managed a club that was down 8-0 after 3, and we only used 2 pitchers the whole night.
Amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Great job by Clayton Mortensen, who's still with the ball club.
They had some of the scouts buzzing in the dining room tonight.
It was nice to hear him say, you know what, it was good. It was nice to see somebody that didn't throw 150 miles an hour, hypothetically, obviously. Hard thrower, come in and threw strikes, work both sides of the plate, change speeds, and pitched very well. And most of the time, scouts come in, and the first thing Drew and I'll hear them say is, man, did you see that? Had him at 98, had him at 95, had him at 96, and it was nice to hear 86, 88, and he knew how to pitch.
Pitchability.
Yeah, it's nice. That's one of the things kind of been added to a lot of pro scout charts now. Can he pitch? What's his pitchability? Even at the amateur side of things.
1-2 on Darren Ford. Swung on a miss. Lindstrom strikes out 4. See Brian Wilson warming up. How much money is he spending on a coloring agent, huh?
Oh, you don't think that's natural?
Sure, it's sponsored by somebody.
No, I don't think that's natural, George, to answer your question.
Okay, well, he hadn't cut it since the World Series.
This ball on 1 hop to Tulowitzki. 2 outs as Freddie Sanchez is retired. That'll bring up Aubrey Huff in the 9th inning. Wilson will come on. Jose Lopez, Ty Wigginton, Chris Iannetta. And after that, you would assume you'll see Jason Giambi. Only 2 players left on the Rockies bench, Giambi and Jose Morales. Again, Ian Stewart was optioned to AAA today to make room for Ubaldo Jimenez.
I think the other thing, Drew, is if the first 2 guys get on, we might see Giambi hitting for Iannetta.
Well, I guess we'll have to cross that bridge.
Let's hope so.
Yeah.
Let's hope that's an option.
I don't know. I think Iannetta hits. I'm just, and hopefully we get to that point, because Iannetta has the ability to run into a fastball and hit it out also.
And he's 2 for 4 against Wilson in his career. And we all know Jim Tracy likes a lot of numbers.
Yeah. Because I think it gives you 2 big swings of the bat back to back. Chance to get even if that were to occur with 1 swing. And, if Iannetta fails, then you have Giambi behind him.
Well, let's just try to have something good happen so you get to that position to have that decision.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing about baseball, especially National League Baseball. There's a lot of ways you can play it, a lot of different opinions.
That's why it's so much better than the American League.
Yeah, you played in both.
Yep. Bench guys just feel like they got an opportunity to get in there every single night.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Huff. And Lindstrom has a slider fouled off near you. Huey, did you make a play?
No, I was ducking. I didn't actually see that, where it hit or anything like that.
They just flipped the ball over your head.
Okay, thanks. Alana and I were making sure that we were safe. Okay, I had her covered. I was like, wait.
Shouldn't Alana be on the other side of you, because we want to keep you safe. Alana's the ball magnet. Good play by Maddie Lindstrom. We'll go to the bottom of the 9th inning. The Rockies down by 3. We'll see Brian Lopez, Wigginton, and Iannetta. Transmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Colorado Rockies. Here we go, bottom of the 9th inning. The Rockies trailing 6-3. Brian Wilson is on the mound naturally for the Giants, and Jose Lopez will be his first subject. Now, the Rockies have had success in the past against Brian Wilson. In fact, the last ball game they won in 2010 came with Brian Wilson on the hill at Coors Field. The Rockies rally. Tulowitzki singled in a run, and Tulowitzki would be mobbed as the Rockies beat the Giants. Unfortunately, they hit a tailspin after.
5 of 7 save opportunities, 11 and a third innings, 12 hits, 4 walks for Wilson, with an 0-2 record against the Rockies in 2010. Fastball will reach 94 to 99 when he's in his prime, and hard slider to go along with that. A good changeup. Typically a 2-pitch mix. Likes to work away to right-handers, as he started out here with a cutter at 88.
And one pitch he's added also this year, George, is he's throwing a sinker.
Not surprisingly, kind of shorten things up on those tired days that you're able to do this. How about this? In the postseason, he did not give up a run.
Lopez is retired.
3 games in the World Series, 4 games in the Championship Series, and 3 games, 10 games covering a total of 11 2/3 innings, and not a run given up in the postseason by Brian Wilson.
And he saved game number 162, which handed the Giants the division over the Padres. It was his 48th save of the year, which tied the franchise mark previously held by Rod Beck alone. Wigginton, 2 walks and a single. And he takes a strike. teams in baseball coming into tonight that had not lost 2 in a row. The Rockies, the Yankees, and Philadelphia. The Rockies are going to be down to their final out and staring at a 2-game losing streak. Chris Iannetta comes up. Reminder, Toyota Talk. Your chance to sound off. Text Toyota followed by a space and then your comments to 720-720. Iannetta's 0 for 2 and a walk. Now there'll be a little bit more pressure on Jorge De La Rosa tomorrow, as he will battle Matt Cain. We'll talk about it. A tough 3-game set. The Giants' starting pitching has been phenomenal.
Well,
but you expect it.
Yeah, you did. And tomorrow, of course, the Rockies, Nimitz is going to be on the mound, and Matt Cain has won 11 games career-wise against the Rockies, and last year was 3-0 versus the Rockies.
Well, it's imperative, too, that you go out there in that first inning and you don't spot him any runs. You just played catch-up the whole series so far.
Yeah, it makes it very difficult on that man. I mean, there's not many things you can do when you're down by a significant number early. And then last night the Rockies had 4 hits. One of them came off Ryan Vogelsong in the 9th, that monster double by Helton. Tonight they have 3 hits. 3-1. Called a strike. Iannetta glares back at Ed Rapawano.
After you've seen a number of pitches away, then you do get a fastball in, and it's off the Ford strike zone, but Eddie chose to call it a strike.
Here's the 3-2. And the cutter missed. Good eye by Iannetta. We say that all the time. And here comes Giambi, hoping, of course, to hit with 2 men on, maybe even 3. Instead, he'll hit with Iannetta aboard. Dexter Fowler on deck.
Giambi thought that ball was high. Kind of looking at Eddie there. Eddie said the ball dove back for a strike. I don't think I quite see it this way. Let's look at the height of this pitch on Giambi. Ford strike zone says high. Giambi thought it was high. Ed Rapawano did not.
And again, you see his movement toward the baseball, Giambi. More on that in a second. Here's the 0-1. Up. Jeff, going back to something you and I learned, that and you played for 10+ years, and you didn't know it.
No.
I had never heard it before. It's not your stance where the strike zone is. It's as you step to make a contact with the baseball.
Yeah, the act of your swing. That's what determines the strike zone.
We were in that meeting in the commissioner's office last week in New York. Drew and I were there. Hugh went on a trip.
I meant you, George, but
I knew what you were talking about. Yeah.
That's all right. You never went to New York. You had a long time there. 4 days, a long time for you back home. But we all met with the umpires and had a very good meeting there, and a lot of explaining going on about a lot of different rule changes that would be a great pregame deal.
That's going to be caught by Sanchez. That's the ball game. He's in short right field. Giambi squared it up. And these first 2 ball games in this much anticipated series between the defending world champions and the Rockies go to San Francisco in convincing fashion. Their starting pitching has been better than the Rockies. No other way to put it. They went 8-1 last night, and they've won tonight 6-3. Jonathan Sanchez gets the victory. He's now 2-1. The loss goes to Ubaldo Jimenez. He's 0-1. Tonight's delivery of the game is brought to you by Jimmy John's, America's favorite sandwich delivery guys. And Sanchez gave up a hit, which was kind of a questionable one, a double. It could have gone either way. It was well hit by Dexter Fowler, and leading off for the Rockies at the bottom of the first. He didn't give up another marker until the 7th inning. That's how good he was. So the Giants win it 6-3 tonight. De La Rosa and Cain tomorrow. More to come from the ballpark with the Toyota postgame show. Stick around.